today for tomorrow, and unless you've been hiding under a rock somewhere, chances are recently you've heard about microplastics and nanoplastics and the fact that they are actually being found in our bodies. Scientists now have the tools to find these minute particles of plastics in all of our organs and even in our blood. They're causing all kinds of diseases, including cancers, reproductive issues, and even heart attacks and strokes and death. So it's serious stuff. We want to know what we can do to safeguard ourselves and our families against them, and that's what today's video is about. Today we're going to cover 25 things you can do in your own life at your own household level to help safeguard your family. Joining me today is Julie Long. Julie Long is a pediatric surgeon by trade, and she's had a lifetime of seeing some of these issues with plastics play out in human bodies, and she's become very passionate on the topic. I'm so happy to have her here. Julie, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, Gary, it's so good to talk to you about plastics again and continue our conversation. I really think it's a major cause of some disruption to people's health, so I'm so happy you're doing this.
Oh, fantastic. Well, let's just jump right into it. We have 25 great things, easy things you can do in your own health, in your own home, to help safeguard yourself. And we've got a bonus 26 that's probably the most important, so stick around to the end of the video, please. Okay, starting with the beginning. Everybody's probably heard of this already. Hopefully you're doing it. Shopping bags, reusable shopping bags. Please don't get the plastic bags at the grocery store. Remember to put a reusable bag in your car and take it with you every time. It's a simple thing we can do to limit our exposure to plastic.
Great. One of the other things we can do is use glass containers for our leftovers. You use them at home so you're not reheating things, and also you can take them to restaurants. When you get takeout or when you go sit down at a restaurant and you want to bring home your leftovers, give them a plastic container. It'll save them money. It'll save using the polystyrene is bad, and even the paper containers are coated with plastic on the inside. So glass is safe and very reusable.
Absolutely, and Julie turned me onto that, and that's something that is kind of like a shopping bag. You just have to remember to get in the habit. As soon as you get in the habit, you'll be doing it every time. Okay, reusable water bottles. I think, by now we've all probably bought one of these, and they're great. And probably the biggest plastic polluter that I find when I do my beach cleanups is plastic water bottles. So it's bad for the environment, and of course it's really bad for you. We live in South Florida here. Chances are these water bottles have been in a hot warehouse or a hot car, and that heat helps leach the chemicals from the plastic into the water. Not to mention that they've done studies and found the nanoplastics in the water. So don't buy the plastic water bottles. Get yourself a reusable water bottle.
Yeah, shout out to the park. Even this park has the filtered water fountains to refill your water container. So that's good. Our next thing on our list is plastic-free feminine hygiene products and other hygiene products. I mean, you don't think about plastic being in those products, but they are, and they are absorbed through our skin and mucous membranes and cause problems. So use plastic-free feminine products and dispose of them properly.
That's right, dispose of them properly, please. That's another thing I find on my beach cleanups all the time is the applicators for the feminine products.
And diapers.
Diapers as well, yes. Okay, produce. So when we go shopping, we don't ask for plastic on our produce, but it's already there. And the big supermarkets, this is a frequent way you find your produce, or it's just wrapped with cling wrap. We don't want that. Shop at farmers markets when you can. You're going to get fresher produce with a lower carbon footprint because it's grown locally, and you won't get the plastic.
And next on our list is sunscreen, and there's several different brands. We're not promoting any particular brand, but look at the ingredients and look that they're plastic free, because a lot of skincare products contain nanoplastics. So plastic free sunscreen is very important.
And important for the coral reefs as well. A lot of the times you want to make sure that some of these compounds, like the oxybenzones, etc., are not in the product. So get yourself a good sunscreen. And that's skin creams and any kind of cosmetics as well. I'm going to reach across you here because the next thing on our list is bulk items. We want to buy, it's unavoidable. Sometimes cleaning supplies, things like that, even foods, sometimes you're going to wind up having to, your only option is plastic. But if you can buy in bulk, this is something you can buy less, you'll use less plastic. That's the main thing, is if you have to buy plastic, buy big containers and refill.
And we were going to talk about coffee makers, right?
Oh, did I skip
Yes,
you?
yeah,
Okay.
we did. And
I went out of
we
turn.
love our coffee in South Florida, so we don't want to skip that.
So let's talk about that. So here's your typical coffee maker, right? Coffee there. Everybody's probably got something like that. And that is something that we don't think about, but it's obviously plastic on the outside, it's plastic on the inside too. You're heating up plastic, and that heated up plastic is leaching the chemicals into your coffee. You're drinking the coffee. So what are we gonna do instead of that?
You can use a French press. They make great coffee. They're metal or glass. Usually metal and glass combination. You put your coffee in. It's as quick as an electro-perk, and it tastes delicious.
Absolutely.
No, don't need to buy any filters.
You're not drinking plastic.
Yeah, a lot of the food stuff that we get at the store is in plastic. Some of this plastic, much of this plastic is not recyclable, and even of the plastics that are recyclable, only about 8% is actually recycled. So try to buy things that are not in plastic. Here's a little small yogurt container in glass. So just be a smart shopper and look at what you're buying, and you could even take it a step further and tell your grocer that you prefer products that are not encased in plastic.
Absolutely, and it's an interesting way to be exposed to new products. I found that the yogurt I switched to in the glass I like better than the yogurt I was eating in the plastic. And the same goes for an apple juice that I was buying my daughter. It's a little more expensive, the glass one, but it's better. So just an easy thing to do. Now, one of the things we want to look at is fragrances. Sometimes the compounds that make the fragrances they're artificial and they're just terrible for you. And an easy thing to do is, when possible, such as, here's a simple one, dryer sheets, go for the fragrance-free. You cut out your chances of allergies and also your exposure to these harmful chemicals.
Yeah, and even the dryer sheets often have plastics in them, so they make wool dryer balls that, that you can reuse them hundreds and 1,000 times, and there's no chemicals and no plastic in them.
Or the liquid fabric softener as well.
Oh, and then we were going to talk about HEPA filters on our vacuum or in air purifiers. Because these small plastic particles become airborne, a HEPA filter will help capture some of those. So a vacuum with a HEPA filter or an air purifier with a HEPA filter is a really good way to reduce the airborne plastic in your home.
That's right, because a lot of these plastic particles that we're breathing in are actually coming from household synthetic fabrics, whether that's carpet or couches or clothes or what have you. So it's actually drifting around in the air and settling down into your floors.
Yeah.
So we talked about the things we want to do, and the flip side of that is some of the things we want to avoid or not do. So Julie, why don't you start us off with things we don't want to do in the house?
Yeah, so kind of the flip side of don't do is kind of the inside out of what we've just talked about. We don't want to use Teflon. We've all had this. It was sold as convenient. The Teflon has a plastic coating that makes things not stick, that is heated up and goes into your food and is bad for you. You know what I'm fortunate to have is my mom's old cast iron pan. That's no plastic involved, and it's very easy to clean up.
Absolutely. It tastes great too. On that same note, we talked earlier about the takeout containers and bringing the class one to the restaurant. Same goes for the home. Like, if you have these and you're able to, please, recycle these or throw them out responsibly and buy glass. You'll be thankful. You'll thank yourself for doing it. It's going to keep your family healthier and it'll probably keep your food a little fresher too.
Absolutely. One of the other things, another convenience product, were these pods that were developed for dishwashers and washing machines. Look like this. The plastic in it is labeled as biodegradable, but it's polyvinyl alcohol, and only about 80% of it reaches our water undegraded. So you can get, let's see, I have it here, little tablets for dishwasher, and they work great. Or there's, now they make these dryer sheets for, that are used, and you're avoiding using a plastic container. They do a good job. And the last time I had my dishwasher repair, the repairman asked me, he said, "Are you using those pods?" He says, "That's the number one thing that messes up your appliances. Don't use them." So not only are you doing good for the environment and your family, you're probably lowering repair bills.
Yeah, it's a double whammy. Okay, keeping with plastics and things not to do, I mentioned it before, but I'm going to kind of mention them both here. We've got vinyl flooring and carpeting. Vinyl flooring and carpeting, they seem easy, they seem like affordable, durable solutions, and they are, but it comes at a cost. These are chemicals you don't want in your house. They are off-gassing constantly, and you're just breathing that in. In the case of carpets, it's actually dusting, and you're actually breathing the fibers in. There are some options, not to the vinyl flooring, obviously you would want a wood floor, etc. But for the carpeting, there are natural fiber carpets. Take a look at that. Wool carpets is an example, and also the padding underneath. You want to make sure if you're going to go carpet that you do a little bit of research, and choose natural.
Yeah, in fact, when we got rid of our wall-to-wall carpet in our house and put tile in, the house was cooler, our air conditioning bill went down as well. A little bit noisier, but a lot cooler, and in Florida, that's a big plus.
Yeah, it is. There you go.
So next we're going to talk about drive-through coffee. Neither Gary nor I get drive-through coffee. We make our coffee at home and bring it, but he's got a nice little thermos mug that keeps it hot. And
absolutely.
You're going to save yourself some money, and you are going to not be using plastic and the plastic straws. So.
That's right, and this is going to stay warm for hours and hours versus your drive-through coffee that maybe stays warm for 20 minutes.
Cling.
Okay, cling wrap. If it's something that you are using in your household, try to find a way not to use it. This is something that obviously can't be recycled. When you're done with it, if you've been throwing that in your recycling container, don't, because it cannot be recycled. There's a way that's coming online. There's a chemical recycling process that claims to be able to recycle it. We're a long way off from that, but also it's hazardous. And one of the worst things you can do is take this stuff, put it on your food in the microwave and heat it. And that's just a big no-no, okay? Please don't do that if you're doing that. Just stop doing that. Stop using this altogether. There are better alternatives out there.
Yeah, and then on that same note, we live busy lives, and we all get food that will be easily prepared, but a lot of these food products that you can buy that are maybe delicious, they're in plastic, and it's written that the plastic container is microwavable, and you're supposed to just take it out, cut some slits in the plastic thing on top and heat it. All that plastic is going into your food. And so if you're buying products like this, take it out, put it in a glass container, and microwave it in that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, dental floss. Here's one that I've only become recently aware of. And if any of you are handy around the house, if you've done any plumbing work, you've probably dealt with this. This is Teflon tape. Okay, it's the thing you put on the pipe threads so that when you put a fixture together, it keeps it from leaking. It's a very useful item. That's great. But if you take it and you shred it really thin, you'll notice what it looks like. It looks like dental floss. That's because it is. A lot of the real just standard dental floss that's out there in the big box stores, probably stuff you have in your own house, is Teflon tape. Teflon's a big no-no, right? We know that's a forever chemical. We know it causes cancer. Throw that dental floss out. There are plenty of natural ones. Do some research. I've got one here. There's ones made out of coconut husks. There's ones made out of cotton. There are a lot of options out there. Do yourself a favor. Ditch the Teflon and get something natural.
And while we're on the topic of teeth, those little plastic toothpicks are all over the beaches. Use a wooden toothpick or use the stuff that Gary's recommending.
Absolutely.
Do yourself a favor and the environment. And then this one was new to me. Receipts. This looks good. We all get them. They're coated in plastic, and if you feel them, you can feel it doesn't feel like paper. It feels, and it goes right onto your hands, and it goes right into the air. And so all these paper receipts are coated in plastic.
So when you have the option to go receiptless, if you don't need a bunch of receipts, right? Or maybe you can just get it emailed. It's a green choice too with the trees and the paper.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Win-win. Okay, here's one that Julie just taught me about. I knew nothing about it, and it's pretty scary. Fortunately, I'm not much of a tea drinker, but believe it or not, whoop,
Yeah.
Obviously, look, the individual tea bag is wrapped in plastic, so that's plastic we don't need in this planet. But actually, even the tea bag itself is coated in plastic. Okay? Then you're putting that in the hot, almost boiling water, basically. And just, what do you think's going to happen? You're going to leach out the plastic into the tea that you drink. So, you can do it the same way you do coffee, buy it in bulk, and you use a strainer, and you do it that way.
Tastes better as well, and it saves you some money. And then we all, those of us that have eaten in restaurants, know these plastic containers. They're labeled as recyclable, number 5, but they're actually, black plastic can't be recycled, and it contains more toxic chemicals than the other plastics. So really, of all the plastics, this is black plastic and polystyrene are the most dangerous, otherwise known as styrofoam. Number 5 and number 7.
And of course, that's what's coming home with you in takeout quite frequently. That's what's prepared meals are made in. So it is hard to avoid. You have to make that effort. So Julie, I promised that at the end of the video here that we would give the most powerful, best thing we can do to help protect ourselves and our families from plastics. Let's share it.
Well, I want to encourage everybody to vote, because the environment is always on the ballot, and that's you can exercise your right to vote for candidates who are going to protect the environment and who care about the fact that these plastic products are harmful to your family and particularly your children. So please vote.
Absolutely, at the local level, at the state level, and in particular at the federal level, do a little bit of research and understand which candidates are going to care about the planet and care about your health, and which ones aren't, and make that vote count. Well, I'm Gary with Today for Tomorrow, thanking you for joining us. I hope you learned some things that you can put in to practice in your own household to keep you and your family safe from plastics. I want to thank Julie as well. Thank you for joining me. And remember, it's the little things we all do in our daily lives every day that have such a huge impact on all of our tomorrows.